Today we are going to uh, study again Spring AI, and the the goal of today session would be to understand how our application uh, communicate to the Gen AI model, and we know Gen AI model is a kind of stateless. Okay. So whatever the model we are LLM model we use, so whenever our application send request, let's our application ask send prompt and Gen AI respond. Okay, great. So if application again asks some question, then again Gen AI respond. So our understanding is that this LLM is the stateless. That means they don't just receive one request and response. They don't know your previous request. What is in the previous request would be. So if further communications conversation happen between our applications and LLM, so each conversation is the very new for the LLM. LLM don't know your previous conversation, don't know previous conversation and response. So sometime we, whenever we're building applications, we want our system is aware what the previously conversation happened, then what the next conversation happened, what the next conversation happened, so that our conversation going on smoothly without you can say any kind of repetitions of question again. So how Spring AI help us to maintain our application and the communication conversation between the LLM, maintain the conversation history. So the topics today we are going to talk about the conversation memory. So as we know, LLM are stateless. That means every request, every prompt for LLM is a new. This is the and they are processing and responding data. Okay. Again, you ask some questions. So LLM don't know anything about your previous conversation. This is the meaning of stateless. So they do not maintain or retain any information about the previous interaction. So now if we are building our applications, our application not behave like that. So we need kind of Spring AI introduced the conversation memory, okay, to maintain the context across the multiple interaction within the LLM. So our Spring frameworks offer the capability, the way where we can tell, hey LLM, you should maintain some context. You retain, you know my context so that you can respond very carefully, very intended respond to our prompt. So let's look the architectures of the Spring AI. This is a very simple architecture and one very effective. Okay, so let's say this is your applications send a request, so an application get a response. But notice your application is not directly talking to the any Gen AI LLM. You are not directly, your application is not going to directly communicate to your LLM. Because your Gen AI LLM are the stateless. They can respond, but in our applications, we need something context aware. Means ki our LLM, while responding, uh, whatever the response we receive, our response would be depend upon our previous conversation. Logically, would be. So how will maintain? So while what Spring offer, they add one layer. So that is known as a Spring AI abstraction layer. So our application talk to the Spring abstraction, and if Spring AI then internally invoke to your external any open source or cloud based LLM, and finally receive the response. Response is received by also our Spring AI itself, and then they are make proper response and return to the application. So in short, our Java Spring Boot application only talk to the your Spring AI frameworks, and here inside this Spring AI abstraction, they are going to build some logics so that from the application perspective, applications always get response as context of my previous response. Okay, right? Very, very common example. So let's first time say, hey, my name is John. The question passed to the here. Hey, my name is John. He respond, welcome John. Nice to, how can I help you? You are get the hey, nice response. That's great. Again, I ask, hey, what is my name? If the same question go here, what is my name? LLM say, maybe I don't know what your name, because the previous conversation is not interact with the new conversation. So first, whatever the previous question or prompt and response, LLM forget. Next time you say, what is your name? Maybe LLM don't know your name. So here the Spring AI is maintain one abstraction layer. So what Spring AI do? Whenever you call, they are note what is the previous questions and what is the previous response. So internally, they maintain here one memory, conversation memory. Hey, this is a question first, answer first. Whenever you ask the next question, they are associated the next question too. Okay, and then this complete context sent to LLM. Now LLM so okay, this is my conversation history and question. So from this context, our LLM can respond, okay, your name is John. So somehow our Spring ecosystem is provide a facility where they can accumulate our previous request and response. Okay, again request and response, again request and response. Whenever any new conversation call, internally all these contexts pass to the LLM. Then LLM accordingly respond. So this is the main benefits, or you can say the one abstraction layer Spring AI providers. So whatever the features we are going to learn about the Spring AI, that means Spring everything is implemented as a one abstraction layer for you. You just get the very fluent Spring chat client API and you can get the response. Whatever the insight, what number of contexts, how your prompt are made, how they are going to the call, and what kind of response we are receiving. What you can response. Maybe you are receiving very well JSON structure format output. Maybe here we receive the very simple non-structure format, but Spring abstraction layer they maintain some kind of a conversion of the response. So you can say in a coming session we're going to talk how others feature also this AI abstraction layer of. So let's clear. So from application perspective, we should want our LLM respond with the context of my previous request response as well as only. And that is feasible through this Spring AI abstraction layer that sit between your application and your external LLM. Okay, that's great. So now this conversation history or memory implemented by the Spring in the form of chat memory. The chat memory is a mechanism that store the history of conversation between the user and AI. So whatever your AI application LLM and whatever your applications are communication happen, all the request and response somehow that maintain in the chat memory. So there are here Spring AI layer. There have a chat memory. This memory can hold all the conversation history so that the model can respond with the context awareness. So whenever any next questions you are asking, our Spring layer put all the context in the question and the prompt so that AI can aware our context and respond accordingly. Okay, so this is the very good knowledge because AI, whatever without memory, each request are stateless, meaning that AI forget the previous responses. So what the importance of this chat memory? Surely, if Spring layer add this chat memory or conversation storage capability that help us the contextual awareness. So whatever the next prompt we are going to ask AI with a complete context associated with that so that our model can respond with our previously reference context as well. And this is very natural flow. Look, from application point of view, you can very naturally talk this question again, next question, again, next question, again, next question. You know, our AI can know my previous request and response. So our whatever next response always be refined with the help of your context. And this help us the personalization kind of a references because our chat, memory, AI make a very personalized feeling for you. Okay, so you're not understanding you're talking very unknown person. So whenever they our conversation memory are stored, chat history is stored, always pass through the AI. So the response we are receiving look like very personalized to that. Okay, and that's also help reduce the repetition. Sometime LLM maybe ask again question. Hey, what is your XYZ information? Please share your information so that I can respond. So unnecessary, you are asking the same question again, same information you are giving LLM again and again. That is taken care by your chat memory, and that's enable, you can say it's enable us to context aware, personalize and coherent conversation by storing the relevant messages and injecting into the prompt. So what here our Spring AI framework did, whatever the question you pass to the LLM, what the LLM response they can store in the intermediate layer. Then again next question. So whenever next question, first question and response associated and again pass to the. So this way our application are our AI layer are injected those into the prompt. So the story is that whenever you ask question first to the AI AI responds, hey, this is the first answer. Okay, first answer. You ask the second question. So here our AI frameworks associate with the prompt first, request and this question as well, and then send here. Again, you get the response. When you ask third question. So again, our AI associate second response, first response, and make the proper prompt and send you. So always, whatever the previous conversations between your applications and your Gen AI happen, those are the history associated with the new prompts. Okay, that's enable the contextual conversation. Follow-up question answer look like. So that's this conversation history improve the user experience by making the interaction feel like a natural language. Okay, that's lots of a key advantage or benefit once your applications and GNA model, you maintain the conversation history, and each question, each request, each query, you just tell the GNAI model, hey, this is a complete context, and so that GNAI should aware, hey, this is the context. Accordingly, they prepare the response. Okay. So there are two terminology: chat memory and chat history. Okay, so this is very clear definition given by the Spring AI itself. The information that large language model retain and use to maintain the contextual aware throughout the conversation. Okay, and here history, that's entire conversation, including all the messages exchanged between the user and AI model. Okay, so this is a complete history, and this is only the contextual awareness. Okay. Okay, so let's talk how they are stored. Because whenever you talk Spring AI, maintain the chat memory. That means they are required some kind of storage where they are going to store and what kind of parts. So by default, Spring allow two kind of storage. One is the in memory, another is the database chat memory. So we have option. We can store because whenever you talk about your app, my application, and then your AI model and your Spring AI abstraction layer. Okay, abstraction layer. You talk to here, they talk to here, they respond here, they respond here. So here somehow we require to memory to store your chat conversation. So one option, you can store any kind of relational or non-relational, maybe Postgres, MySQL, MariaDB, SQL Server, Oracle, even MongoDB, Cassandra, Cosmos. These are database available. That means all the conversation between the your applications user and your model, what the question and answer, everything you can store in this database. Whenever any new request go, we next our AI model or associate those context to the AI again, send again back, right? So and second is the in memory for the depth development purpose, for the testing purpose. Even you can go, so oh, there is no database just internally, maybe hash map you can maintain, and this is our key and this is the value, key and value, you can store all the key. And whenever you ask application, you ask question to the AI model, this complete context information history pass with the prompt itself, message itself, so that our AI should aware all the previous historical conversation between the users and the AI model. Okay. So the default by default, generally they support in memory, they maintain the by default 20 messages. They are using the concurrent hash map kind of things, and whatever the your first you ask your application ask to AI model this information is stored. Hey, this is the first question, and this is the first answer. If you ask next question, they read out here, associate first question, and ask again context AI model. Whatever response, second response, they are restored here. Third response, and they are restored. So every times they pass all the context relevant information to the chat model. So let's understand. This is the concept are very simple, and by default in memory maintain kind of a sliding window. That means they contain the 20 size window, and they are if we pass one conversation in second, third, fourth, fifth. If let's this 20 is full, then the sliding window, this the previous one remove and new one going to again insert. So that are configurable. You can want to change this default 20 and remove oldest message when the limit exists. Okay, sliding window, that is similar kind of in memory. But database, whatever the strategy you want to implement, you can use them. Okay, so whenever your application going to talk to the GenAI model, generally we are using the chat client, Spring AI offer the chat client library. So how we can tell, hey, chat client, now in application, in this conversation, I want to enable chat memory so that our model can aware by the previous conversation. Okay, so by default, this is not enabled. If you test your application, they are not enabled. Okay, so then we have option how we can enable them. So couple of advisors Spring AI providers like Message Chat Memory Advisor, or Prompt Chat Memory Advisor, or Vector Store Chat Memory Advisor. Okay, so this is the kind of a list of advisor available whenever you are going to create chat client with the builder, and then we have option to add the advisor. So in those scenario, for anyone of you can use to enable chat memory in your application. Okay, so each interaction it retrieve the conversation history from the memory and include in its prompt as a collections of messages. So message chat memory advisor, they always, this is the first request, they send a one message. Second request, they know first request and response, second request again send it. Third request, your first message request response, second message request, third message request, and again. So always sending the collections of messages to the GenAI model. And similarly, PromptChatMemoryAdvisor retrieve the conversation history from the memory and append it's the system prompt. As I tell. So in the case of prompt chat memory, they are append as a system prompt. Tell, hey, you have this is your system prompt you consider right now. And similarly, like if you are using the storing information from the vector store database, then in this it is also appended in the system messages. Okay, so let's check how these happen. Okay, so let us open the application, and this is a very simple application, Spring Boot application. We have nothing. We have just one chat client, and using the chat client vendor, you can initialize this. And if you ask any questions, prompt your user prompt and call method. They will simple API. So if you ask any questions, they maintain. Okay. So let us run this application first and check. By default, there is a no chat memory, a conversation history maintained by the Gen AI or even your Spring AI application. If you run by default, let's test it. Okay. And let's ask any question. Hi, my name is John. Okay. So if you ask the model, okay, say, hello, John, nice to meet you. So now you tell model, hey, model, my name is John. They are responding. That's great. If I again ask question with LLM, what is my name? So by default, if our expectation is that LLM must aware, hey, it's my name is John. But whenever you ask by default, say, hey, AI say, I don't have a access your personal information. So even previously I tell my name is John, but still the LLM next time responds, hey, I don't know. Okay, so this is the default behavior. In this default behavior, we are not enable, you are not tell, hey Spring AI, can you maintain the conversation history, chat history between my application and between the LLM. So let's enable and then verify them. Okay, so let's enable. So by default we are going to add the chat memory. So here we have to add the advisor. So let's here add the advisor. So this is the by default advisor. You are going to the message chat memory advisor. Message chat memory advisor. You say message chat memory advisor builder dot build. So this builder as chat memory builder is required kind of a chat memory. So in memory or DB memory, so you can just inject one chat memory, okay, and you can pass it. Okay, so now what you okay, so here in our application we are not doing anything change. Your API is the same. Our client, whenever we are building our client, at this time you can say, hey, this is one advisor that will look like interceptor. Now our chat client know you have already tell them, hey, this is the chat memory and the message chat memory advisor by default in memory we are going to use. So they are going to maintain the conversation history between our user and our application. Okay. So let's uh, start this server. Okay, our server is started. Now let's go and ask the same question. Ask a question. Hey, hi, my name is John. Okay, so great. Mention hello, John. Nice to meet you. Again, ask the repeat question. What is my name? So now here they remember. Yes, you told your name is John. So now look like users and LLM. Now LLM aware over my previous conversation. Okay. So how it's happened? Okay. So as I told, whenever you call first time, they send request and response. Those requests and response are somehow our Spring abstraction layer is stored in memory. Whenever next request I pass, our Spring AI retrieve the chat memory and associate with a new question and again send. So we tell LLM, hey, this is your context. So that is let's verify from the log. Already we have a here already we have also added the last time a simple log advisor. So whatever the conversation between our AI and our Gen AI model, our logger is enabled there printing the log. So let's verify from the log what we are doing. Okay. So let's once the server is started. So once server is started, right now. So we first request say, hey, the first request say this is the user message. My name is John. Okay, you can say, hey, this is the user message, my name is John. You pass them. Okay, so once you pass them, and then we receive the response. Now this is the request. This is the my request. This is my request. And what is the response? This is the response. What is the response? Okay, this is the my response. Okay, so first things. Okay, here you ask first question. My name is John. Our application. This is the first request, and what is the response? What is the response? Response this. Hey, hi John. Hi John. This is over. Great. Now I am going to ask the next request. Next request, kya? Uh, Next request is the notice what is my name. But before that, notice they maintained our previous request. Hi, my name is John. Okay, and response. What is the response? Hello, John. It's nice to meet you. Is there anything will I help you today? So complete request and response are meant retrieved from the chat history, and whenever next request you are going to the pass with a what is my name. So whenever this complete information, first request, response, and next request. So this is the complete context we send to the LLM. Now LLM can read everything and visualize, okay, your name is John. So now our applications, our system is responsible look like a LLM aware. LLM can generate prompt that means my name. So this is only possible because we maintain the conversation history. Okay. So now, if you ask any further question, they maintain the history. Okay. This is the way our application can maintain. Okay, so these are the technique. By default, notice we are here follow the chat memory kind of advisor. So chat memory advisor. Even for each chat memory, you have options. You can get the kind of a detail uh, default memory advisor as well as right now. So this is the kind of a build method. Okay, this is the chat memory default advisor. In this case, you can also want some conversation ID. You can associate conversation ID as well as. Okay, this is the way you can ask all these operations. Okay. So we're not going to implementation, but internally this is everything's implemented by our this is the chat memory. Okay, this is the chat memory default implementation. By default, you want what the implementation default implementation. Go to the implementation. This is our default class. What is the message window chat memory? And they default max size contain the 20. So by default, they maintain the one the default size the 20, and internally they can maintain our history with the help of conversation. So whatever the communication between the your AI and LLM happen, they are going to store and store. If they are full, the previous record going to store and again add the new one, add the new one. Okay, so that is the our application. Yes, this is our application. So from application perspective, your API perspective, you do not need to do any change. Just whatever the chat client you are going to the build, at the chat client level you can just add one more advisor, that is a message chat memory advisor or any other advisor you can, like here we are using the message chat memory advisor. Or similarly, if you want to some maybe storage storage advisor, you can also use the storage advisor as well as. Okay, they maintain. Okay, so the from the application perspective, you just whatever the child client you are good in the child client, you can just intercept the advisor message chat memory advisor and just associate one the chat memory object. So our Spring aware about this concept. And if you want to take the more detail about the chat memory, so good options you can. This is the our Spring AI official documentation. You go the Spring uh, chat memory, what kind of chat memory is, how it's worked, how maybe you can use the hardware, maybe the memory types as well as we can discuss memory storage like in memory and Jdbc memory and all other database which we talk they are support. If you want to configuration of those data schema and everything, you can consider this the some configuration enable you required to do, and somehow to chat memory whenever you're going to the builder. In the builder you can specify the repository. So all the this different repository have a configuration available. And for the different database like different Neo4 database or some other database also we have options, lots of options available. Memory, what a kind of advisor here available. So let's go, if you are read all the detailed informations that's available here. But the overall Spring AI as a frameworks help us very smooth, you can say, communication happen between the your application, whatever the as a your user applications and your public yeah, any GenAI model, GenAI LLM, and between that they sit the Spring Spring AI. and your conversation happen here, they are responding here. But internally, they are storing your chat conversation history. Your first request go here. The first request, read the chat memory and associate in the messages and bulk the message and send the request. Again, next request go read the chat memory, all the story information is here and what the response happen before responding, they are going to the save database here and again response. So in this way, the string AI layer maintain the conversation history. Okay, and so it like look like your application. You are talking to the particular LLM, so you're thinking LLM is the aware my name. LLM is responding with a proper context. That is the beauty of Spring AI. All this conversation history or context maintained by your Spring AI framework. Okay, due to that, we as a application developer, we have to use the library. Library offer lots of things happen very smoothly for us as a application developer, as a API developer, we are very smoothly just configure that, hey, I want to memory conversation enable, and rest of the things taken care by the Spring AI itself. Okay, so the how communication happen to the Gen AI, what kind of how to prepare query, how to respond them, how to read them, how to store them, everything taken care by your Spring AI application. Okay, that's very good. Spring AI as a frameworks offer the conversation history capability. By default, always so. Gen AI model is a very stateless. But you notice whenever you are using any chat GPT or any AI tool, they always maintain the conversation history. So those applications are responsible to maintain the history, whatever the communication between the users and the chat GPT going on. Okay, so please aware there is a something our client side happens. So whatever the client here in our case, we are using the chat client. The chat client, the implementation of chat client is responsible to taking care of everything. So hope this make our conversation history. Once you enable your application communicate to the Gen AI model, Gen AI, any LLM model, and look like you feel very personalized and intended response you are getting from the LLM. So hope this information give you the very little bit basic idea that our existing library or any frameworks provide the facility to maintain the conversation history between your applications and the LLM. Even LLM is the stateless; they cannot maintain any conversation history between the previous communication. But still, our frameworks enable them provide all the context, all the previous record to the LLM, so that LLM, while generating response, they can consider, hey, these are my previous conversation as a context, and then they produce the very good quality of response, what the intended response would be. Okay, thank you. That's for the day.